Lucia and Jason are unlike any protagonists we've seen in a Rockstar game, at least so far from what we know with the trailers. And yeah, we're all hyped for GTA 6 with the new map, the graphics, the online mode, but the most interesting thing that Rockstar is doing isn't the multiple patents that they filed, it isn't the ray tracing graphics, it isn't the dynamic weather systems, it's the story itself. Specifically how it's going to be told through these two characters, but to really understand how big of a shift this could be, you kind of have to look at the bigger picture. Look at how GTA protagonists have evolved over the years, because Rockstar doesn't just throw darts at a board when it comes to main characters. Each one says something about the game, about the world, or maybe even where Rockstar's head is at during that time of development. So let's rewind here for just a minute. In GTA 3, we had Claude, who basically had the personality of a brick. No voice, no dialogue, very little backstory. He was just kind of there to be a vessel for chaos. And that's fine. That worked perfectly for 2001. It was kind of just all about giving players the freedom to do whatever they wanted in a 3D world. Rockstar didn't need to do anything deep. They were just kind of flexing their world building muscles, I guess you could say. Then in Vice City, we had Tommy Vercetti, fully voiced, kind of Scarface inspired, just a whole lot of personality. And that was Rockstar kind of realizing that maybe they can tell a story while still letting players blow stuff up. Then San Andreas came along, gave us CJ, who had something none of the earlier protagonists really had, which was emotional context. He was coming home to San Andreas to a broken family, trying to survive, trying to protect his people, and also reconnecting with his old friends. And it made us really care about him and the story, and that's really where Rockstar and the GTA franchise started to double down on this emotional investment. Then GTA 4 hits, Nico Bellic, arguably one of, Rockstar or GTA's most complex characters, a guy haunted by war, trying to escape his past, but constantly dragged back into this cycle of violence. The game was dark. Like, San Andreas still had like a fun, lighthearted mood or vibe to it, but GTA 4 was like grimy, and at the same time, Nico felt so real. But then you had GTA 5, which takes the same formula and kind of flips it again, gives us three protagonists, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. And that was game changing. I mean, switching between them on the fly, you had Michael with his midlife crisis, Franklin was trying to, level up in the world, Trevor just the embodiment of pure chaos. But the thing is, even with all of that variety, it kind of pulled the story in different directions at times. So you never really got super connected with one character over the others. I mean, especially Franklin. I mean, Trevor was kind of just all over the place, and Michael, I guess we got the most amount of story with, but it wasn't necessarily that deep. And I mean, it was fantastic for gameplay, but maybe less so for narrative weight, and take that with a grain of salt because it's still one of the greatest stories in modern gaming, so no hate there. So now here we are. Rockstar has had plenty of time to look back at all of this over these last 13 years and ask what worked, what didn't, and where do we go from here. And that brings us to Lucia and Jason. And right away, they feel different. I mean, first off, it's the first time Rockstar has given us a female protagonist in a mainline GTA game, but even more than that, they're giving us a duo. And it's not three protagonists that you switch between randomly, it's two people that are in it together, rather than, characters that are juxtaposed or working individually. And they frame them in the trailer with this ride or die energy, like this Bonnie and Clyde style. And in my opinion, that's already more emotionally grounded than anything with GTA 5. And it makes you wonder, what is Rockstar trying to do with these two characters? What are they trying to say with these two characters? Because Lucia doesn't look like someone who just wants money, she looks like someone who's trying to survive. Someone who's been through the system and knows what's at stake. And then you have Jason, who's ex-military, a little bit more laid back, in control. I mean, there's just so much going on here, and that dynamic is so interesting to me. It opens up opportunities for trust, betrayal, sacrifice. I mean, there's so many moving parts, and I just know that we're going to be heartbroken by the story one way or another. But this is where things get interesting when you compare it to older protagonists. Claude had no personality. Meanwhile, Lucia seems like one of the most expressive, characters we've ever seen in a Rockstar game. Tommy was all bravado and kind of flashy, where Jason is a little bit more chill and calculated. CJ wanted to protect his family, and Lucia and Jason, maybe they're going to start their own family. Nico was defined by his past. Jason and Lucia are motivated by what comes next, kind of rebuilding their lives. And then you had Michael, Franklin, Trevor. They were all trying to get something: money, status, revenge, whatever, but they weren't necessarily in it together. Rockstar has never really explored partnership like this in GTA before. The closest thing I could think of is probably Red Dead Redemption 2 with Arthur and the rest of the gang. Red Dead thrived on relationships. I mean, you saw them evolve, you felt the tension, you saw how loyalty could turn toxic, and that game was so emotionally brutal because it made you care. It wasn't just about completing missions, it was about, why you were doing the missions and things like that. That's what GTA 6 might be tapping into now, just in a more modern setting. And if they do it right, Lucia and Jason could end up being the emotional core that GTA has always kind of flirted with, but never fully committed to. Okay, now let's zoom out a little bit and talk about Rockstar's writing as a whole. It used to be all about satire. GTA was this wild sandbox where nothing really mattered, everything was funny, everything was a joke. But with Red Dead Redemption 2, that was where things really changed. You could see the shift. I mean, the tone became more mature, more introspective, and I'm not saying all of Rockstar's games were just a joke and satirical, because they did have plenty of very serious toned games. I'm just kind of making a blanket statement there. I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. But looking at Red Dead, I mean, the writing wasn't just sharp, it was thoughtful. There was still humor there, but it didn't dominate. It wasn't at the forefront necessarily. I mean, Arthur Morgan's story had so many layers with regret, loyalty, identity, and that level of writing is what people now expect from Rockstar. So if they apply that same kind of narrative weight to GTA 6, especially with two protagonists who share a bond, we could be in for not only the most technologically advanced and massive game ever, but also a revolutionary story. And if we zoom out even further, look at how protagonists in games have evolved in general, just overall. Think Ellie and Joel in Last of Us, or even V and Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk. People want that layered dynamic in story games in 2025. They want conflict, trust, growth. They want to see the development of characters over the course of a game. Even beyond characters, beyond writing, think about how all of this could affect gameplay. Like, if the story is more relationship driven, maybe your choices actually affect how Lucia and Jason interact with one another. Something like a relationship meter, which I think was actually a feature that got leaked in one of these recent leaks I've seen, so maybe it really is going to be a gameplay aspect. And that has implications like dialogue changes or mission outcomes change. Maybe there's some kind of a branching narrative or different endings based on how you handle the partnership. Rockstar's never really done that with GTA. I mean, GTA 5, you got to choose your ending pretty much, but never where your choices result in a different ending like how it was in Red Dead 2. So they showed that they can do it. They showed that they can do it well. So why not bring that extra depth into this game? Also, you can't ignore how the development team itself has changed over time. Rockstar is not just the Houser brothers anymore. Dan Houser, one of the key creative voices behind GTA and Red Dead, left back in 2020, so naturally, you'd expect the writing to evolve too, hopefully for the better, but you never know. But that could be why Jason and Lucia feel so fresh, because the people telling the story are actually different. And if Rockstar is opening the door to more diverse stories and characters, then, this shift is only just the beginning. So that was a long-winded way of saying that if you look at it from a distance, this isn't just another pair of characters. This is Rockstar evolving their whole idea of what a GTA protagonist can be. From silent protagonists to this Bonnie and Clyde duo with depth, with a relationship, with a shared goal. It means more narrative tension, more consequences, more emotional payoffs. I'm just so excited for this game. Let me know who your guys' favorite GTA protagonist is down in the comments. Personally, mine is CJ, and make sure you check out some of my other GTA 6 content. Besides for that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.